Hey y'all, it's been a minute. I'm Cheryl. I use they them pronouns. I live and love, play, work, and learn how to decolonize on the traditional unceded territory of the Nanaimo First Nation, also known as Nanaimo, Vancouver Island. I use they them pronouns and I won't make it weird while you're on a learning curve or if it's a different language for you and the pronoun thing in any gender, in any context, doesn't make sense. Permission permission to not be perfect all the time and to demystify and dissolve shame is what I'm about. So I completely closed my coaching business in 2025. Completely. It's gone. It was inaccessible to my nervous system. It was inaccessible to my work life balance. And the energy it was taking from me emotionally, physically, intellectually, and sensory wise, being in front of computers and screens and having to mask and interpret social cues and all of those things. It was too much for me as a high masking autistic person. It was just costing way too much for me, even though I loved the work. So I've taken everything that I've learned and I've divided my entrepreneurial stuff into two categories. At below this, the replay of this video, I've shown you where to connect in the two streams right now. And of course, there's many more places, but I've posted my two websites and my two Instagram profiles. So what I'd like to talk to you about today, first and foremost, is Sensory Balance Space Inc. This is a service that started as a solution to a problem that I had. And if you go back in my YouTube videos, there is like a short, full length cinematic trailer kind of explaining what it's all about. And I'd invite you to go and look there. But in the less polished way, what it is it's a pop up service at the heart. We do many other things, but this is the core offer that we're leaning into for 2026 is we do pop-up neuro-inclusive nervous system support spaces at live events. We're primarily geared towards adults. There are loads of sensory play, sensory solutions, low stim environments, pop-up services, even like nonprofit companies for autistic and otherwise neurodivergent children. And then people turn 18 and magically they're not disabled anymore. No, that's not what happens, right? There's a lot of people who were raised female, assigned female at birth, who were socialized as girls, they're women. There's a lot of people who have a uterus and ovaries who, due to the change in hormones, are realizing that they were undiagnosed ADHD or autistic, and that the changes that happen with perimenopause and menopause have highlighted those characteristics, and they've lost their ability to cope. They've lost their ability to mask and to be who they always perceived themselves to be. And it's become this thing where people are more socially anxious. They get overstimulated in environments. They need to take a break and everything's jam packed. And then post pandemic, the anxiety, like we all went through a collective trauma and now there's stuff going on in the world right now and things like the anxiety is high, the stress is high. And so I pair all of my training in neurosomatics, all of my training in advocacy, in anti-racism frameworks, in inclusive language and spaces, my training from them, my time as a prison chaplain, when I was in Bible school and deep in like religious spaces, and my training working in nonprofit outreach with unhoused folks, and my own journey as I'm like just coming up on 1,200 days sober from alcohol. So like I have all of this knowledge, all this lived experience, and all of this training. And I created Sensory Balance Space Inc., where we have trained neurosomatic facilitators who have also learned about like inclusion as an experience instead of a checklist where there's like a pass fail. It's like learning cultural competence, learning how to empower people, learning nonviolent de-escalation techniques, learning the difference between sensory processing and stim support that might look freaky to other people from someone who's actually in distress. Because hi, flappy hands and vocal stims does not mean that someone is violent, right? So all of these things wrapped up, because for me, inclusion isn't about who's invited. It's not about who can get in the building. It's not necessarily about the language you use. Those are all frameworks. If you think of it like building a house, those are all really important frameworks. But what about the experience? What about the drapes? What about the couches? What about the carpet? What about the paint? What about the decor? How do people feel when they're in this so-called inclusive space? Does it feel clinical? Does it feel like they're going to get in trouble? Does it feel like the room is doing the bare minimum? Because right now it does for me. Like, I don't feel safe in quote unquote safe spaces a lot of the time because it's enforced with a sledgehammer instead of respect and consent, right? It doesn't respect people's autonomy. It doesn't respect their lived experiences, their cultural or religious differences. There is a way for all of us to coexist together at public live events and private live events. So maybe we wouldn't be having these individuals over for supper, but we can exist together at a business conference without feeling unsafe when there's a space to go and regulate, go and self regulate, go and co regulate. So I help people by invoking their five felt senses and getting back to their breath. We supply like things like coloring books, things like movement, things like breath work, things like kundalini yoga and energetics. We do things like there's stim toys, there's darker spaces, lower lighting. There's so many ways for that to take place, but that's the thing that I'm doing right now in a big way. So if you'd like to connect with the sensory balance space stuff, you can check out the link below to the Instagram or head to the website and get a quote request or book a 35-minute little chat and we can get to know each other. Okay, cool, wonderful. Please note that any hateful or harmful comments below this video will just get blocked. We don't have to do that. We can be adults. If you don't like what I'm serving, please just move on and go find your people. All right? Beautiful. The second thing that I've done is I have been on my coaching journey. I was doing coaching for about 3.5 years. I was doing like tarot, energetic, spiritual coaching, spiritual empowerment, intuitive gifts, somatics, stuff like that. Primarily in trauma recovery, relationship boundaries, and autistic coming home to yourself, unmasking identity, stuff like that. Okay, beautiful, wonderful. We live to see it. We love to see it. I have clients who are still my clients, but I'm not taking on any new ones for that. Okay. And what I noticed when I was in the spaces where we were both learners, where we were in a mastermind container or a group coaching container or a money management container or an offer building container or whatever it was, is there are so many people who are really, really good at what they do. They love it. It's like a self-sustaining energy. And then when they go to log into their online platform, like Kajabi, like Coach OS, like the VIP Hub, like Go High Level, like System IO, or whatever it is that they're using, they'll go in there and then they'll have like tech panic sweats. They will have a visceral nervous response. They'll have an identity crisis. They'll start to feel like they can't do coaching because they can't figure out tech. They can't do yoga and breathwork facilitation because they just can't figure out their back end. And so I was like, I can help you. I can help you. I can help you. So for behind the scenes, for the last 2 years, I've been helping people pay what you can, of various levels of income, to ghostwrite for them, to co-write for them, to organize offers, to take their transcripts and make content creation, to build their back end, to build their landing pages, to set up their automations. And it was all like these one-off things. And I had myself spread in too many different places. And then my own coach, who I've been working with for 5 years, is like, okay, but what's really easy for you? What feels like you feel bad charging money for? And I was like, well, all of my money right now, all of the things people are asking me to do is this, and it's the tech back end stuff. And she's like, so why are you resisting it? And I had to sit and I had to think about it. Why am I resisting it? And it's like, because it feels too easy for me. And I realized that there was this underlying programming because of how I grew up, right? permission to see yourself in this story. Because of how I grew up, there was this underlying programming that I had to struggle. I had to work hard to be worthy to receive life-changing money. And that's not true. That's absolutely not true. So, I launched an offer, and I'm happy to say I just hit my first like 4 months in a row of consistent, steady income at the same level, and this has never happened in my entire entrepreneurial journey. Sometimes I'd have like a 5K month or a 7K month, and then I'd have like maybe $100 and then months of no sales, and then it would take off again, and it was really inconsistent even though my clients were having results. And now I've had like my fourth month in a row of consistent income. And I'm like, okay, we're doing it. This is what we're doing. So I've recently changed all of those things. I'm sorry if you can hear my cat yelling in the background. Um, they're playing and he's upset. Hey, stop it. Get down. Anyway, never a dull moment here. So that's what I'm doing now. I do this thing where when you work with me, you sign up to work with me for an offer build, a challenge build, a nurture sequence, whatever it is that we're doing together. I send you a checklist of everything I'm going to need before we build the thing. And when you hand all of those things into me, so you get to have the checklist, you make sure you have all the things, and then you have a form that you fill out, which is really easy to do. You just put the text in the things, and I get you like a shared Google Drive, and we upload the assets. That's all you have to do. You just fill out the form, add your files to the thing, add the copy to the thing, or pay me extra and I write the copy for you. And you just do the things. And I help you do it. I go and I build it all in 10 days or less, depending on the pricing package that you choose. And then you approve things. We go through a round of quick, simple edits, and then it's live and it's done. What if instead of trying to learn your entire back-end system, I gave you a checklist, you gave me all of the things on the checklist, and then I just go and build it for you and it's done and ready? What? This pressure of having to know every single little aspect that it takes to run an entire business online is killing people who are really good at the services that they give. They're really good at the work that they do. And you do not have to learn how to do every single little thing to be worthy of receiving money. You do not have to be in the struggle to be worthy of receiving big bucks. You know what I'm saying? Okay, great, wonderful. The other thing I really want to zero in before I go off of this cute little impromptu live is you have a problem with your car. You take it to the mechanic. You don't go to university and trade school and learn how to be a mechanic. You don't YouTube how to fix whatever. I don't know much about cars, so insert terms here. You don't try to fix it yourself, right? It's too valuable. So why are you doing it to your business? When you have a plumbing issue that is beyond your scope of genius, you hire a plumber to fix it. When your roof is leaking, if you are not a handy person, you hire a roofer. When your computer is broken, you take it to the tech support store. So when you can't make your back end system work, instead of internalizing it as failure, hire someone who can make it work for you. Yeah? Okay. Bye for now. I'll see you on social media.